Well, Tim, thanks so much for joining us. We're here on the AI 360 podcast. Excited to learn about what's going on from AI and insurance perspective. Maybe you could tell us a little about your role with the firm and what you're up to.
Great. Yeah, great to be here, Jim. Thanks for having me. Um, you know, this July, I'll be in the insurance industry 35 years, 20 of those years here at Deloitte and 15 within the industry itself. And as you know, we all wear a number of different hats. So I sit on the executive insurance team, leading our consulting services. I also lead our regulatory risk and forensics practice. And something near and dear to our heart, what we're here to talk about today, I lead our AI go-to-market strategy for our clients.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So you're going to have a lot of great examples for us on what's going on in terms of AI and insurance. So maybe just starting there for us, right? Like you obviously have had tons of data in the insurance sector to use, always been embracing kind of statistical models, modeling methods, techniques, all that kind of science around it. So like what's new in AI from an insurance perspective? What are your clients talking about?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, insurance is a fairly conservative industry. So they've been wading into AI fairly cautiously and for good reason. 50 state regulatory environment, a lot of concern about disparate impact to consumers and things of that nature. But I think they're still doing a nice job of getting their arms wrapped around AI. And some of the things they're looking at are embedded agentic AI. Specific use cases for that are using it to go across multiple sources to collect data and bring it together in one particular area. Again, kind of eliminating some of the back and forth that they've had in the past and some of the manual efforts around that. I also see a lot of use of multimodal AI that can take a look at writing, audio, speech, and illustrations and interpret that. I think the big thing there is we now have a formula for taking a look at diverse data in both the structured and the unstructured world, which is a huge advancement, not only for insurance, but other companies. And I think the last area is really small language models is really a key that insurance has been taking a look at in terms of building models cheaply and quickly. And in that area, we see them targeting such areas as claims, for instance.
Are you seeing a trend in terms of sort of front office, back office, customer engagement versus maybe actuarial processes or business functions, one area more than the other that's getting, more interest from an AI perspective?
I think at the beginning, we saw AI really getting introduced in the coding area, AI assist in coding, which really increased the amount of efficiency there, decreased times for coding, increased qualities, and so forth. We've seen a lot of use of OCR and NLP technology to evaluate policies, looking at marketing materials to make sure they're ready and meet all the regulatory environments. So that's a little bit more back office and compliance related. We've seen the AI being used to develop usage-based insurance models to adjust premiums based on real-time usage data, such as driving behavior. So sure, a little bit more on the front end there. And then I think from the customer service and claims perspective, we've really seen AI-powered chatbots to help answer questions related to customer policies. And I think one of the best examples of that, let's say you have a fire that just broke out in your house and you just called.
Let's hope not. I'm looking around. I think I'm okay.
I hope not. But if you did, you call in and you're talking to a claims adjuster and AI is listening. The chatbot's actually listening and it's understanding what you're going through. So it's starting to give the adjuster prompts on, here's a hotel within 5 miles from your house if you need somewhere to stay tonight. Here's a list of places you could rent an automobile. Do you need 911 called? Are there people still left? So it's prompting the adjuster while the call is in action and coming up on a screen sitting side by side with what the adjuster is actually dealing with. So pretty cool stuff.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And it seems like that's great opportunities for clients to drive a ton of efficiency into their operations, great customer engagement experiences to create that customer value. So with all these great use cases, are there like major challenges that are either affecting your industry directly or that you're seeing kind of more broadly across as you try to implement these AI solutions?
Yeah, I think when we look at some of those considerations, and they are, again, we mentioned up front, right? The regulatory environment is a challenge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want these AI models picking up bad habits and providing disparate impact. So I think the big thing and what insurance companies are engaged in, and what we like to say is an enabler for AI, is developing a good governance model. So making sure you have the right governance in place so that people send every model through that governance, understanding the models, what they're doing, testing them, making sure the integrity of the model is standing over time and it's doing what is expected and it's not producing disparate results. So I think building that right governance model really helps companies advance and move a little bit more quickly. If without it, you have what I like to call a number of science projects going on within the company, and people may not know that these models actually exist. They're not getting the right attention. They're not getting the right testing and monitoring. And that's when you can get yourself into trouble.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, we always talk too about sort of a tiered governance approach, I think, where you have certain levels of data and information. If you're dealing with employees versus if you're dealing with customers, you handle things differently. And so having that tiered structure can help unlock certain use cases in different scenarios, different tolerance level for hallucinations within a model versus what you're used to maybe between a customer or an employee type engagement too. So Tim, these are great. I mean, any kind of words of wisdom for folks that are either starting on their journey or in the middle of their journey here from an AI perspective you'd want to share with them?
Yeah, like I said, let's make sure you have the building blocks in place, and governance would
Yeah.
be paramount to that. I think the second big building blocks is your data sources,
Mhm.
and having clean data and understanding where all your data both is at all times within your environment, and what's in that data before it goes through the models is absolutely paramount for getting the results that you expect. When you start getting data that moves into the system that may not be cleansed, may not be exactly as you want it, it could cause a lot of problems, and it really defeats the purpose then of the AI models because it starts producing bad results for you.
For sure. I think we use the phrase garbage in, garbage squared when it comes to AI. Just makes
Absolutely.
it even worse.
Yes, it exacerbates that particular
Exacerbates the
situation.
problem. Awesome. Well,
Absolutely.
Tim, this has been a great conversation. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and our listeners to share what's going on with industry and AI. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate the time. Thank you.